It says it can help gay people live heterosexual lives, but that is not sitting well with some gay rights activists.
Several dozen protesters unite today against what they say is an anti-gay organization.
And he says this program teaches children, among other things, they don't have to live a homosexual lifestyle.
We're here to show them that this isn't the only choice. Shame and fear is not the only choice.
When we are trying to help someone reorient their behaviors and the way that they think about themselves, there are therapeutic techniques and there are ways in which we can assist that awareness process. Some people refer to that as brainwashing. I think it's a semantics question.
Well, we're back, and that was a clip from the documentary This Is What Love in Action Looks Like, which focuses on converting gays to become straight. John Smid was the man you saw at the end of that clip and a leader in the conversion therapy movement. But in a blog posting just over a week ago, Smid said that the therapy does not work, even going so far as to say that he has never met a man who experienced change from homosexual to heterosexual. So will this admission change the course of the debate in this country over same-sex marriage and other issues? John Smid joins us now, along with Daily Beast contributor Michelle Goldberg. John, thank you for joining us on Hardball. It's always an honor to have somebody come on the show who could go anywhere they wanted to tell their story. And, Michelle, thank you for joining us and helping us with this story to understand it as a journalist. John, I guess the question a lot of people, gay and straight, will ask is what brought you to go public with this pretty important observation since you've been experienced in this world that no one's ever gone through successful, if you will, or a conversion of any kind from gay to straight?
I think really one of the most significant things, Chris, is that within the gay community there is definitely a chasm between the gay community and the traditional American church. And it's my greatest objective to make sure that the gay community, people within the gay community understand that there's room at the table for them in a relationship with Christ. And I recognize that many things that I've said in the past have communicated that maybe there isn't room. And I want to make sure that there is.
Do you have a sense that this country, well, it's a dumb question because I think we know the answer. This country is changing its attitudes about orientation, about people who are gay in your lifetime.
Yes, that's true. And I think it was important for me to be honest about the fact that someone is most often, there's an intrinsic homosexuality that, from my experience, has not really, I haven't really seen many people who have seen an orientation change. And in that, I think then we have to make decisions about what we're going to do. How are we going to choose to live? What are our relationship choices? And for me, I am married. I've been married for 22 years. I love my wife dearly. We have an amazing relationship. But at the same time, I do experience homosexuality. It's a part of my history. It's a part of the life that I live. And I just think it's important to be really honest about that for myself and hopefully to open the door of honesty for others.
Well, how would you explain your sexual orientation, your sexual attraction? Are you attracted to male or female?
I would say I'm attracted to men. At the same time, I've chosen to be married, and a lot of people make that choice.
Let's take a look at the public's view on this. This is a political show, as you know. We don't get into psychology. I want Michelle to get in on this. Look at this. A new Gallup poll focused on gay and lesbian rights from May of this year shows that more than half the country now supports, listen to the way it's phrased, acceptability of gay relations. Morally acceptable, 56%. Morally wrong, 39%. Now, I understand that that's a flip. A dramatic, more than a flip of where it was just 10 years ago, Michelle. Yeah, so this country's views are definitely dramatically evolving here.
And they're going to evolve even further because I think the numbers are even starker among the younger generation. Even among younger evangelicals, you see a lot more support and kind of understanding of gay relationships.
Well, let me go back to our prime guest here, John. You know, just a few years ago, we had an election in 2004, and I don't know if you study the politics of the gay issues, but my understanding is that Ohio went for President Bush, W. Bush, because there was a whole movement out there to try to fight the issue of same-sex marriage on the ballot. And it was basically skewed with Don King and some other people involved in it, and Karl Rove, to use that issue as a wedge issue to basically screw John Kerry in Ohio, and it worked, and it flipped the entire national election to W. Do you think that it's going to be a wedge issue this time around by the Republicans, to be blunt about it?
I think that really with the gay marriage issue, what's happened is the government and the church are split on the issue. And I think that really, as a government, we shouldn't have gotten involved in the issue of marriage. And so, therefore, I think we're kind of put ourselves in a very difficult spot. Because, frankly, I think coming from a pure government issue, I think two gay people should have the same rights as two heterosexual people, because that should not be a Christian decision by the government. And we're going to have to kind of find a way to unravel all that.
What do you make of the fact that one of the candidates for the Republican side, Michelle Bachmann, and her husband run an organization which basically does what you say can't be done, change people? Here it is. Here's Marcus Bachmann, the husband of presidential candidate, speaking for himself, using an offensive term, many believe, when he talked about how to address gay teens. Let's listen.
What do you say when your teenager says she's gay?
There's that curiosity. It is as if we have to understand barbarians need to be educated. They need to be disciplined. And just because someone feels it or thinks it doesn't mean that we're supposed to go down that road. We have a responsibility as parents and as authority figures not to encourage such thoughts and feelings.
Well, I guess, first of all, John, and then I want to go to Michelle, the use of the word barbarians to describe gay people.
Oh, I think that's horrific. I think that whole concept that he has talked about there is in an amazing denial of human experience. And I think the first thing we need to do is to listen and validate to what people experienced. And I remember in my own life that was very important, to be validated. I think to invalidate a person's feelings and say, oh, really, you don't feel that, is an amazing shutdown in relationship. And personally, I also had a hard time following what he was even saying. It didn't make sense to me.
I wondered, too, because if you think and feel you're straight, are you supposed to go by that or not? I don't know what Michelle, but these Bachmans engaged in this unusual mission in life. What do you make of this whole thing, and now being politically involved?
I also think it's important not to just limit it to the Bachmans. I mean, the Bachmans are clearly one step beyond in that Marcus Bachmann actually engaged in reparative therapy. But as far as I know, Herman Cain believes sexual orientation can be changed. Rick Perry championed a constitutional amendment that banned not only gay marriage but civil unions. I think that although this is a minority position in the country at large, it's a majority position among the Republican base. And so this kind of, these
Well, how far does this go? I mean, Trent Lott, a few years ago, I don't know if you were reporting that, but do you remember, 7 years ago, Trent Lott, who I actually like, came out and said we make a choice at a certain age. And somebody said, actually, you like Pepsi or Coke, Crest or Pepsodent, toothpaste. I think, I thought about it this week. I think I'll be gay. I think I'll be straight. As if anybody watching now can remember making a decision or a choice like that. And yet it seems like a mental trick they do. They can't handle the fact of nature, nurture, whatever. So they just say something stupid like, we make our choices. Why is that politics? Why do they have to make a political statement like that?
Well, I think they have to make a political statement in part because it goes beyond homosexuality. And it so much of their politics and their kind of cultural ideal is about a God-given hierarchy between men and women, God-given roles for men and women within the family. Yeah. If you admit that there are variations on, kind of the proper way to live a flourishing life, you open yourself to all kinds of challenges to, what kind of 70s feminists used to call patriarchy. And
because if you admit that people are born gay or become gay very early in life, then you're admitting that God makes people gay. And John, you're one of God's children. I think we ought to know that. And everybody ought to say that every day when they get up in the morning. We're all God's children. Let's start with that one. It's great to have you on. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on this program, sir. And John Smith, thank you. And thank you, Michelle Goldberg.